Welcome, everybody. It is Small Biz Fuel segment of Business Monday here at GoLocal Live. I'm Josh Fenton. This is Stuart Meltzer. He is the man in the fish industry here in Providence, Rhode Island. Just a few months ago, he opened up Fearless Fish Market over on West Fountain Street. Welcome to GoLocal Live.
Thank you so much. It's great to be here.
Yeah. So 3 months since the doors open?
That's right, yep. 3 months, we opened February 12th.
A day that will live in infamy in the fish
Hopefully,
industry?
Fame.
Fame.
Not infamy.
And what's the brainchild behind opening up kind of a little bit of new school, old school fish market, right? It's kind of bring it back to the people and let people come over and buy it, not in a grocery store, but be able to come and learn about the fish industry, but also bring some science to it all.
Right, yeah. So basically, I started out working in wholesale, on the wholesale side of things. So
In the fish industry.
in the fish industry,
Yeah,
right? Yes. So
Right.
buying fish from around the country and selling to high-end chefs in high-end restaurants, and I saw an incredible high level of quality when doing that type of work. And when I stepped outside of the business and was going to kind of the available retail options, quite frankly, it was less than exciting in terms of product
You didn't
quality.
want to be screamed at by esoteric chefs?
Yeah, that was a challenge for sure, being in the wholesale side. But then recognizing the available options in the retail was less than exciting. So I thought there was an opportunity to do better in terms of quality, selection, and kind of the knowledge and experience given to folks across the counter. And so that was kind of the primary.
You know a lot about fish. You don't know a little bit about fish. You know a lot about fish. And you've worked with some of the most discerning chefs, really, amongst them in the country, correct?
That's right.
So you're trying to leverage that to bring it to say, listen, we want to grill this weekend. What are our options? What's new? What's exciting? And you don't have this is not the, not to disparage Stop and Shop, but this is not the fish aisle over at Stop and Shop. You have a sweeping array of product.
Yeah, that's right. So really, in terms of what we carry, we certainly focus on local species. We carry a lot of whole fish, fillets, shellfish, some smoked fish as well. We focus on a lot of the local and underutilized or underloved items that you might not see in a lot of other places. And then we're all about kind of conveying our enthusiasm for those species and helping folks at home cook it for dinner and have a great experience.
Talk about the change, too, that you're trying to bring on the sustainability and sort of improving the whole environmental ecosystem relative to procuring and distributing fish. You told the story in the back there beforehand about the ramifications of squids. Mm-hmm. Most squid, talk a little bit about the journey, because it's really quite amazing.
Yeah, so the seafood supply chain can be a fuzzy place, which a lot of people are aware of. The example that we were just discussing was squid. Oftentimes, squid can be landed here in Point Judith, frozen, and then shipped overseas to China, to Asia, to then be processed, meaning clean, so taking the skin off and the guts out, frozen again, and then sent back. So a lot of times that squid takes quite a hardy trip and undergoes quite a bit of processing. So we offer a product that's either fresh, never frozen, that's landed in Point Judith and brought right to the shop, or it's frozen in Point Judith and then we bring it in that way, thaw it out, and clean it ourselves, and we find that the quality level tends to be quite a bit better.
Really, you're saying that your squid that is landed in Point Judith and brought to your store, maybe next day or the day after, mm-hmm. is of better quality than the squid that's brought to Point Judith, shipped to China, processed in China, shipped back across. This is not air freight, I'm guessing. It's in a ship.
That's right. Yeah. It'd be in a frozen container.
In a frozen container. Yeah. That somehow is a fresher delicacy. Yeah. I'm so shocked,
right, I know, yeah.
Based on that transportation. It's like MapQuest. You took the wrong turn.
Yeah, right. Not a first class trip.
Walk us through, what should the consumer know and think about when buying fish and changing sort of their dietary habits? What's the right amount of fish? You know, you get these edicts from health departments about certain types of fish and limiting it if you're pregnant or in this situation. What should the consumer know? How can the consumer learn about what's the best way to really improve their diet?
Yeah, so a couple things. So one that reminds me of is that also in part of the genesis for opening Fearless Fish was just a firm belief that I hold and we hold that eating fish is good for people's health and it's good for the health of the environment, fundamentally. So we believe very strongly in that. In terms of what, how much fish folks should be eating, we say as absolutely much as possible. We find, we certainly favor fish over other forms of protein, again, for health reasons and for environmental reasons. Uncle Sam, the government will recommend 2 servings a week. That's at least 2 servings a week.
Yeah.
So we, and I can kind of go into kind of the environmental aspects to that. I mean, you mentioned kind of sustainability and the supply chain, and some things we're thinking about there. But I guess most specifically, fish we find is a low impact food and protein source on the environment, and part of the reason is they don't have to fight gravity.
Right.
That they're not standing on Earth fighting gravity and drinking water all day and all the energy that requires and the feed that requires. So that's kind of a big thing. And then in certain circumstances, such as shellfish, that protein source is actually a benefit for the environment, right? That they're filter feeders. They're eating the phytoplankton that's in the water, and that actually acts as that's a necessary ecological function. So,
What are some of the things that that the shop has that folks it would be unique for them to be able to get at a retail location around here?
Sure. So like just in the shop this week, we had sea robin, we had tautog, we had whole Atlantic mackerel, Acadian redfish. So some of these species that you really don't see very often, they're of great value in that because the demand isn't quite there for some of those items, the price is pretty reasonable and the quality is fantastic. So it's overall really nice value. So those are kind of some of the things that we're really excited
You've
about.
been open 3 months. How have you gotten the word out? What's been the strategy? What's worked? What hasn't worked?
Sure. So really, we've been open 3 months. The main thing in terms of getting the word out, we've been relying on word of mouth. So we opened up in the neighborhood on the west side. We've got right off the bat, that neighborhood kind of has come in and has been really enthusiastic, and they're telling their friends and family members. Food is one of those really, it's really the ideal kind of product for word of mouth and spreading, because people tend to eat together, right? And so
dinner party. Where'd you get this delicious fish?
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly. 100%. So that's been really helpful. And then also social media has been really effective for us. So Instagram, Facebook, has been very powerful. Partly because fish is such a is like nearly the perfect medium for those platforms. It's very visual. It changes nearly every day, and we can highlight. So every day we'll highlight like a couple things that we're excited about, and we'll put our list on those platforms, showing on our accounts there, showing what we have available, what's new.
So tell me a little bit. Has it been? Do people trust you so much that whatever you have, they're buying? Or are you amazed at, oh my God, we had this wonderful blank, and they didn't buy any of it, but they bought all of our Y, right?
Yeah.
Like, are you still learning sort of what the consumer wants and how to educate the consumer?
Yeah. So I think that we've had really good experience with people coming in and looking to do something different. That's definitely central to what we're doing.
That seems like the fun part of it, right?
Yeah,
I can get caught at a number of places, but I might be wildly intrigued of something else.
Right, 100%. So we're kind of, like you said, we're excited about just getting people eating more fish, and with that trying new things. And so and I think and we've kind of put that out there as that's what we're excited about, and people are responding. So they're coming in looking for something different and to kind of get out of their comfort zone. And that's, again, fearless fish market. That's kind of the idea.
The mantra.
Yeah, right.
Right.
Is to,
Do you have a tattoo? Do you have a fearless fish
I do not.
market
I
tattoo?
do not. We're gonna. Yeah.
I think you need to partner with a tattoo parlor
Yeah,
and be able to offer.
That might be a market. Whatever it takes.
That's right. What's been the biggest surprise?
The biggest surprise. So I think the biggest surprise is I would say is really on the supply side.
Yeah.
And really being able to get a quality level of product consistently that we need. So it's, again, I've been on the wholesale side and been a buyer on the wholesale side, and I'm familiar with the challenges there. Being a small entity and not having a lot of weight to throw around,
Right.
is definitely a challenge that we have to be very vigilant about every day to ensure that we're getting the quality, the standard of product that we want to be putting out there and providing to our customers.
If somebody out there is an entrepreneur and they're thinking about, or they've got a small business, regardless of what kind it is, what's been the biggest frustration and how have you dealt with it? It's all been so smooth in the first 3 months.
Yeah. So in terms of kind of the biggest frustration, I would have to say it's the, on the supply side is ensuring that we're getting that level of quality, and that's kind of a challenge that we have to work at every day. I would say, first and foremost, that would probably be, that's been the biggest.
Has there been any shocks like, I can't believe everyone comes and buys fish on Tuesdays, but not on Fridays? Anything like that? Like any sort of, oh my God, that was never in my business plan kind of thing?
I would say, well, honestly, so one of the bigger surprises, we're in an area right over there where there's a lot of gyms.
Yeah.
There's quite a number of fitness businesses, and we thought we were going to be getting a lot of folks from those areas, and really we've found that it's and not necessarily surprisingly, but really the people that are psyched on food. Are the ones that
maybe you need to go with protein shakes for them all. Mix up some mackerel and some other things.
Yeah, but so I think that's been one surprise. But overall, I think we've been really surprised with the enthusiasm that people are like, oh hey, this is really responding to what we have.
How many fish markets, retail fish markets, standalone, are there in Providence? Not many.
No, yeah. So that was part of the and we've been hearing a lot of that.
Yeah.
That's part of kind of the also the impetus for starting this here in Providence.
Congratulations. Let's talk about it. Where do you see yourselves going? Is this going to be a one location, or do you see it, hey, listen, this is going well, maybe when we get to the 12-month or 24-month period, we start looking at potentially some other retail locations in the city or around the state?
Yeah. So right. I mean, right now we're 100% focused on just getting this business off the ground and doing this right and doing well for the folks here in Providence. Ultimately, our goal is we want people eating more fish, and I think that this method of this type of business, this store, and the environment that we're creating with knowledgeable salespeople, high quality product, and really engaging folks is something that we hope can really make a difference in how.
So that's entrepreneurial code for you'll have 20 locations in 2 years.
Yeah, well, we definitely want to have impact. So we're not getting too ahead of ourselves. Yeah.
You worked with the state in with some of your financing?
No. This was self-scrapped together. Bootstrap operation. Piggy bank,
all that kind of stuff.
Shaking out all the coins
in the couch.
Yeah, shaking all the coins in the couch, and just leading to a lot of love. Good, healthy dose of anxiety.
The state's food guru has been a big supporter of yours. She loves you because of the sustainability factor of, being at that business at the end of the pipeline of, a very, very vibrant fishing community. What's been the reaction from the industry? Are they excited? Is this a new, if you went back 100 years ago, there was probably 50 fish markets probably in Providence alone, and now there's one or two or whatever in the city. What's the reaction been there?
Yeah, so absolutely right. So the folks at with
Commerce?
Department of Commerce have been great, been really helpful as far as like helping kind of connect me to the people in the seafood orbit around here in the state. So they've been really excited, and that's been super helpful. As far as the industry is concerned, definitely a lot of positive reaction there as well. I mean, if we can, of course, if the more we can get people excited about fish and trying different things, that benefits everybody in the industry. I guess specifically with kind of some of those lesser known, underloved, underutilized species in particular, because a lot of times this product is coming off the boat, and there's not much to do with it. And if we can help get fishermen some value for that, and everybody along the supply chain, I mean, one, it's good for the environment because they're available, and then two, it's not a loss for
and it also takes some of the pressure off some of the more popular, better known species that have a tendency, especially in the Georges Bank, to get overfished, and then the government intervenes and puts limits and creates a whole cycle of economic chaos for the fishing industry.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. So we try, that's what and again, they're great fish that we want to get people excited about. And I think folks that are coming in and trying it, they often come back for that again, and they're saying, hey, this is pretty well priced and really nice fish. So
great. Yeah. Stuart, the king of fish in Providence, Rhode Island, founder of Fearless Fish Market over on West Fountain. Congratulations on the success in the first 3 months.
Yeah, thank you.
I want to thank him for coming on. We're going to be back at the 4 o'clock hour with Gary Sass, head of the Hassenfeld Institute at Bryant University, talk about the state's budget, talk about education reform, and talk about Len Ladaro's report that says we're at the early signs, potentially, of looking at a recession here in Rhode Island. We'll talk about all that at 4 o'clock. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. We'll see you back at 4.